Okay, so today's lesson is continuing with our discussion of verbs. Yesterday we talked about main verbs, which includes action and linking. Today we're going to talk about the third type of verb, which is a helping verb. So sometimes an action or linking verb will have one or more helping verbs with it. Helping verbs express the tense of a sentence. Okay, so they don't add anything to the action. All they do is modify the tense. So you know how we can have past tense, present tense, and future tense. There's also other tenses like perfect tenses and progressive tenses and stuff. And that's what helping verbs are for. You don't have to know those things specifically. I'm just telling you what their purpose is. So, like I said this yesterday, I believe, the main verb, which will be action or linking, plus any helping verbs together are called the verb phrase. Okay, so the verb phrase is basically all the verbs in the sentence. It will always have an action or a linking verb, and it may or may not have helping verbs with it. This is the list of helping verbs. It's, I think, the easiest to remember if you split it up into categories. So we have all the forms of be, all the forms of have, and all the forms of do, plus modals, which are things like may, can, should, would, could. So, like linking verbs, these are all of the helping verbs that exist. And so, as long as you can remember what's on this list, you should be able to find all helping verbs. So let's look at some examples. On your notes, when we go through these examples, you should highlight action verbs in yellow, linking verbs in blue, and helping verbs in pink. Okay, so let's look at some examples of verb phrases in sentences. On your notes, you should be highlighting and color coding. So make your action verbs yellow, your linking verbs blue, and your helping verbs pink. So here's our first sentence. I have read every book by Zora Neale Hurston. I have already highlighted all of the verbs for you. I put them all in yellow. But when you highlight them, you should color code. So we have read is the main action verb, so that should be in yellow. And have is a helping verb, so that should be in pink. Have read is the verb phrase. Next one, they should have brought lunch today. Should have brought is the verb phrase. Brought is the main action verb, so it should be yellow. And should and have are helping verbs, so they should be pink. This example shows how you can have more than one helping verb in a verb phrase. Okay, you could have 0, you could have 1, you could have more than one. So this shows what it would look like if you have more than one helping verb. Should and have are both helping verbs. Next example, this soup may not taste good. Taste is the main linking verb. And it's a linking verb here because no one is physically licking and tasting anything in this sentence. So taste is the main linking verb. May is a helping verb. This example shows how the verb phrase can be split up. The helping verb and the main verb might not always be touching in the sentence. They may sometimes be split up or separated in the sentence. Words like not, always, and never are not helping verbs. They are often in between, in the middle of a verb phrase, like in the sentence may not taste, but you should never highlight not, always, never, words like that, because they are not part of the verb phrase. Okay. Next example, is the koala sleeping? We have sleeping as the main action verb, and we have is as a helping verb. Okay, so sleeping should be yellow, is should be pink. This example shows what questions look like. Questions are always tricky because the word order gets all switched around. And in questions, a lot of times part of the verb will end up at the beginning of the sentence. And a lot of times that will be a helping verb, like in this case. So the purpose of this example was to alert you that sometimes with questions, you'll have to look to the beginning of the sentence to see where the helping verb is. Next one, Rick will become the student council president next year. We have become is a main linking verb, so it should be blue in your notes. And will is a helping verb, so it should be pink in your notes. And last one, I don't want spaghetti again this week. Want is the main action verb in this sentence, and do is the helping verb. So this is kind of a special situation because we have don't, which is contraction. We know that don't means do not, right? Do is a helping verb, but like we discussed before, not is not a helping verb. So on your assignments and whatnot, you should highlight the do. That's the part of the contraction that is a helping verb. So on your notes, it should be pink. But you should not highlight or include the nt, right? Because that's the part of the contraction that means not, and it is not included in the verb phrase. So in this sentence, want is the main action verb and do is a helping verb. Make sure that when you're using contractions, any contraction like can't, won't, isn't, right? All of the contractions, the int part, the not part, is not included in the verb. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to show you with that example. So there is some overlap between helping verbs and linking verbs. There are some words that are on both lists. Mainly the forms of be. So am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been are on both lists. So to tell which it is, to tell if it's being used as helping or linking, you have to look around in the sentence and figure out if there are any other verbs around. If there is another action or linking verb, the one that you're questioning has to be helping because you can never have two main verbs. If there's no other verbs in the sentence, the questionable one has to be linking because a helping verb cannot stand alone. So let's look at some examples. I have always daydreamed about the future. Just like before, you're going to color code. So you're going to highlight action in yellow, linking in blue, helping in pink. In this sentence, we have daydreamed is the main action verb, and have is a helping verb. Okay, so daydream should be in yellow. Have is a helping verb, so it should be in pink. Next example, the patient might be revived after weeks in a coma. So the thought process that I always go through is I try to find the action verb first and then look for any helping verbs. So in this sentence, our main action verb is revived. That's what the patient is doing. And might and be are both helping verbs. So in your notes, might and be should be pink, revived should be yellow. Might be revived is the verb phrase there. Next example, the kids weren't tired after the movie. So, in my thought process, the first thing I always look for when I'm trying to find a verb phrase is to look for an action verb. And when I'm looking at this sentence, I'm not seeing any action verbs at all. That should be my signal that I'm looking for a linking verb. And then when I look at the linking verb list, I see were is a linking verb. So were in your notes should be highlighted in blue because it's a linking verb. There are no helping verbs in this sentence. Okay, it can stand alone. Remember, there don't have to be helping verbs. Also notice that weren't in this sentence is part of a contraction, but I did not include the nt, the not part of the contraction in my verb. Were is the entire verb phrase in this sentence. And it's a linking verb, like I said. Next, all applicants must be CPR certified. All applicants must be CPR certified. So I look for an action. I don't see any actions. So that signals to me that I need to look for a linking. When I do that, I find be on the linking verb list. So be must be our linking verb, and must is a helping verb. Must be is the whole verb phrase. We've got must as a helping verb, so it should be pink, and be is a linking verb, so it should be blue. Next one, Ashley didn't bring her coat. Look for the action verb. You will find bring. Any helping verbs, you will find did. And notice that I did not include the nt, right? Did bring is the whole verb phrase. In your notes, did should be pink and bring should be yellow. Next one. The movie was thrilling from beginning to end. The movie was thrilling from beginning to end. So take a moment, look for some verbs, see if you can find and highlight the verb phrase on your own, and then check it with mine when I reveal in just a moment. Hopefully you have found what you think is the verb, so let's see if you were correct. The verb in this sentence, the whole verb phrase in this sentence is was. The whole verb phrase in this sentence is was, and it is a linking verb. So in your notes, it should be highlighted in blue. Was is a linking verb. Last example, Maria will play Anne in the first tennis match. Maria will play Anne in the first tennis match. So look for your verb, look for the main verb first. It will either be action, or if there's no actions, then it will be linking. And then once you found your main verb, see if there are any helping verbs that you need to add. Hopefully, when you go through that thought process, you will find that the verb phrase is will play. Play is an action verb, and will is a helping verb. So this concludes our notes on verbs. We've covered all three parts. Remember that every sentence will have either action or linking, and then there might or might not be helping verbs with it. There don't have to be helping verbs. We saw several examples here that had no helping verbs, but there can be helping verbs. So keep your eyes peeled for them. Always check over the sentence for any words on that helping verb list before you finish highlighting your verb phrase. So this is the end of our notes, and you are ready now to move on to your practice and your homework. Good job.